Good evening and good morning, Unicorn fam! Welcome to the Shadowcorn Staking Twitter Spaces. We're here with the members of the Laguna Games team, specifically those who had a major part in our Shadowcorn Staking event. Here's who we have for today. We have Katrina, Matthew, me as the host, Witty on the Crypto Unicorns account as tech for visibility, and we have Niraj from Moonstream, who also helped a lot for Shadowcorn Staking. I'm so excited to be part of this Twitter space so we can tell you more about the Shadowcorn Throwing Shade, our take on Shadowcorn Staking. We've been super hard at work building what we hope will be an amazing experience for our Unicorn fam. And it's basically a love letter to the original community members and the Discord community events that we used to run. I'd love for the team to introduce yourselves one by one and tell us what you're working on connected to Shadowcorn Staking. Let's start with Katrina. Hey.
Thanks, Barkley. So I'm Katrina. I'm the product director here at Laguna, and I have not been doing the hard work that the art and engineering and all of those guys have been doing, but I've been helping kind of wrangle everything and keep it all moving and come up with cool ideas to make this an awesome event.
Those are lies and slander. Katrina's been working really hard. Don't believe her, guys.
All right, I'll tag Matthew. You're up next.
Hey, everybody. I also second that Katrina is being very humble. She is quite hardworking. I've seen her in every Slack channel. So she keeps all the corns going in the same direction. I am the front-end web developer for all things crypto unicorns. So if you've used a website, it went through me. There's a good chance I designed it, and I definitely built it. So for the Shadowcorn site, I was very excited to jump in and build a really cool product. I'm not going to spoil too much. We'll, I'm sure, tell you a little bit more, but we're very excited to get this out the door and into all your hands, or whose.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to hand it off to Niraj, but I'll let you run the show.
There's Niraj from Moonstream. Say hi.
Yeah, hi everyone. Thanks for having me on the Twitter space. Moonstream, just like with the Dark Forest Act 1, Moonstream has been handling all of the on-chain work related to Shadowcorn's Throwing Shade, and I look forward to talking to you all about it during this Twitter space.
Perfect. I'm super excited. So the way we're going to set this up is that we are going to start with a couple of questions. And then if the rest of the community wants to ask a question, just raise your hand and we will get you on the stage so that you can speak and ask us a question. All right. So how does the upcoming Shadowcorn staking event differ from the previous Dark Forest staking event?
Maybe I should answer this question.
Yeah.
All right. So the first Dark Forest staking event was really like a very simple on-chain experience. That was one of the first forays into on-chain gaming for both Laguna Games and the Crypto Unicorns community, and for Moonstream as well. It used very simple mechanics where you just went in to explore the Dark Forest. You'd come out with unicorn milk, and then at the end, once you had enough unicorn milk, you could sacrifice it at the Dark Altar to earn like a chance at getting a Shadowcorn egg, right? And then the Shadowcorns are the enemies of the unicorns. Everyone, of course, on this Twitter space knows what a Shadowcorn is. So what we, in my opinion, the Dark Forest Act 1 wasn't like a particularly good game, but it was a very good social experience. That was the thing that like really struck us when we saw how the community engaged with the Dark Forest Act 1, was that it was a great social experience. There were people who were meeting on Discord at pre-specified times so they could send all their unicorns in the Dark Forest, and they talk about it, and they talk about what was happening in the Dark Forest, and what was going to come out and what Shadowcorn eggs would do. It was just such a great social experience, and it made us realize that actually building these experiences where the players can actually take more of an active role in creating the lore of the game universe is just going to be a better experience for everyone, because that's really what the players were doing when they were talking about what was going on inside the Dark Forest. And so that sort of informed what we're doing with Throwing Shade. This is built on on a multiplayer choose your own adventure narrative, similar to, Huntercorn sort of came out of the Dark Forest Act 1, I believe. Isn't that right, Sparkly? Huntercorn started after Dark Forest Act 1. Is that true?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and like, we saw, like, how the community engaged with that. We wanted to sort of bring that experience on chain, and to give the players sort of the ability to create the story of the Crypto Unicorns universe along with like the team developing the game and things like that. So that's sort of where we're coming from with Throwing Shade.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, Niraj. Do you guys want to chime in, Kat, Matthew?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Niraj has a good overview of all of it. And I think we all agree here of just how cool kind of some of the social pieces were in both Huntercorns and the Dark Forest. And so this is sort of taking all of that and doubling down on a few things and kind of making it a more robust experience, both gameplay wise, smart contract wise, visually, technically. So it's kind of really leveled up the whole experience. And I think the kind of parallel line of all of the lore elements is a really fun portion of this, that kind of, the Dark Forest had people just spontaneously talking about it, but this will be more of turning lore and all of the amazing stuff that community has been writing into, our actual canon that we can use in the future.
Yeah, I'll second that. I think it's, with this project especially, it is, compared to sites of the past that we've done, is so much richer, and there's a lot more going on. It feels a lot more like a game, and especially folding in all the community involvement and the lore. It's very exciting. I'm excited to see how the community embraces it, and all the whatever comes from it is going to be really neat to see.
Yeah, definitely. I'm super grateful for the community, and I'm so excited because they're always game to add something to the lore, to add something to the game. So I really appreciate them. Next up, so I feel like we all knew that there would be another staking kind of game after Dark Forest. But what are the origins of this event? Like, how did you come up with the idea of doing Shadowcorn staking this way?
Well, I was trying to think about this because it feels like it just sort of evolved from many different conversations early on, right after the launch and Dark Forest of, okay, Dark Forest Act 2, we always knew it was going to be staking. We wanted to be more interesting, more like a game. And then I think, I don't know how many months ago at this point, we had a meeting with Niraj's team and kind of just spitballing different ideas. And I think I was at that point, Niraj, you had already started thinking about this, the kind of choose your own adventure mechanic, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We'd been thinking about choose your own adventure mechanics because it was all because of the Dark Forest Act 1, and we realized how powerful it was for players to be able to create the lore inside the games that they were playing. And we saw like Huntercorns was actually a big inspiration to us as well. So that's where sort of like our ideas came from.
Yeah, and so that from that conversation, we kind of just realized that these pieces all fit together, and that was sort of a natural fit for Act 2 of Shadowcorns, and then sort of the lore piece built on it of how do we do a UGC lore? We really wanted to do that. What does it look like? How do we build it into this? So it kind of was a series of conversations, but again, very much inspired by how the community behaved during Dark Forest Act 1 and all the Huntercorn stuff.
Yeah, I would say this project felt the most organic in a lot of ways. As we were building it, even so much was changing as we were coming up with new ideas and adding things, and it was just a really collaborative experience, both internally and obviously with the community, which is really interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting to look back on it because I think that it was very cool to see everyone who kind of touched this project internally. It seemed like they wanted to add their own +1 and own kind of spin on it, which, you know, created a lot of really cool ideas. And I think like the art team heard the kind of prompts and they went and made some really cool stuff. The choose your own adventure smart contract stuff is like very cool and very elaborate. And then the website itself is also, you know, really awesome. And so it just was fun to kind of watch internally, seeing that organic nature, as Matthew mentioned, kind of unfold and create something kind of even more than I had originally envisioned.
I just, I want to say one thing. The most impressive part of this, like, I totally agree about, like, the +1 thing has been so exciting. It's been so great to, like, see everyone get excited about this project and, like, have that excitement sustained to the end. And for me, the most impressive part has been, like, the community management team, like, the sort of, like, the sort of framework that they created around the lore. That's the most exciting thing for me. I'm going to enjoy watching, like, unicorn history, like, get told over the course of this mini game. That's just amazing. It's going to be great.
Yeah, I definitely agree. The writing that the community team has done has been phenomenal, and it's been so fun to read. And I've been, trying to read as much of the lore that's been written by the community, and there's so much fun stuff there. Yeah, it's very exciting.
Oh, thank you so much. A lot of that we have to thank Fluffy Unicorn for. She's an amazing writer, and she comes up with a lot of the ideas behind the HunterCorn event. And she also played a huge part in Shadowcorn Staking, isn't that right?
That's right. I think, like, the entire like, the narrative flow of Shadowcorn's Throwing Shade, it all came from Fluffy Unicorn, and I can't wait for the community to see it. It's going to be amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so excited. This is now a Fluffy Unicorn appreciation Twitter talk.
I feel like that could go on for a whole hour.
Yeah, well deserved.
Well deserved. Something that I'm really curious about, though, is that why is it called Shadowcorn's Throwing Shade? Is there some sort of significance to this?
I think this was a name that Niraj you came up with, and I just kind of loved it because it felt very appropriate with the, throwing shade back the unicorns for them invading the dark forest, and sort of fit the whole narrative. And it's also kind of funny.
I mean, I just hated calling it the Shadowcorn Staking game. Like, for me, just calling it like the Shadowcorn Staking game just didn't feel right. It didn't, like, Shadowcorns have personality. I have 4 Shadowcorns. Like, my Shadowcorns don't just stake themselves. Like, they have an attitude. So I really felt like it needed a name like that. So I suggested Throwing Shade, and Katrina and Fluffy both liked it quite a bit, and it went from there.
Yeah, definitely. It's actually kind of hilarious because the Dark Forest staking event was all about how brave the unicorns were and how they went to the Dark Forest to get all of these treasures. And now we have like an anti-hero kind of story. Like we're throwing shade at the original story here. I've always found that like really interesting. What makes you all excited for this event? Like if there's one thing that you could hype up, but a specific feature or a technology, what would it be?
Well, I'm really excited about seeing the choice moment and how everyone reacts. I think there's some, in our playtest, we had a lot of fun kind of seeing the results of which, we played around with it of what's happening in the game. And the results of it were kind of entertaining, and I think watching the community react to all of that and have it be truly real lore that's being built, I think that's kind of the piece that I'm most excited about, which is sort of saying the whole thing is exciting, but I'm going to go with that.
I think, again, the lore and that moment on Twitch when the paths are revealed, I'm really looking forward to that. I think that's going to be really cool. a little bit more on the tech side, Niraj can speak a little bit to this as well. We've built this obviously very tailored towards Shadowcorns, but behind the scenes trying to keep the technology fluid enough that, without going too in depth, we could reuse a lot of the mechanics here, for other things if needed. And what I'm excited about is just that slow progression of more and more rich experiences through the web. Obviously, we have the game, which is the crown jewel, but I think having these little mini games around is really cool. It's really exciting. It's fun, and it just is another way to utilize all the assets that we have, with the Shadowcorns and unicorns and who knows what else.
Yeah, we put a lot of effort into making this technology just like seamless for the players. Um, you'll see once the website is live. Matthew has put a lot of effort into the front end. At Moonstream, we've put a lot of effort into the smart contracts and like the administration tools. We just but the point is that technology is only as good as what it makes possible for people to do, and I think this is one of the first events of its type that are going to be held like in any Web3 game, where players by playing the game, not by doing anything, but by playing the game, get to choose what the story of their game universe is going to be. Like that's for me just such a powerful idea. That's the reason that I care about Web3 gaming at all, and it's just exciting to do this together with the Crypto Unicorns team. And I'm excited to see like I'm gonna be on Discord and I'm gonna be watching like players talk about the game, and I just can't wait to like just see that interaction. I'm very excited to see how the players engage with the lore and like what they actually decide. Um, the actual history of the Crypto Unicorns game universe is going to be. That's for me like the moment that I can't wait for.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited for that too. Like every single moment that I've spent in QA with you guys is amazing. Like the entire concept and the technology is just chef's kiss. I can't say anymore. So, what kind of community member do you see enjoying this kind of event the most? Because we have a lot of different types of people in our community. Like, what kind of community member do you think would play this game and be like, wow, this is fun?
Well, I think a lot of the people who enjoyed Hunter Corns are probably going to enjoy this. There's a lot of similarity. Any of the, lore-oriented people, I think, will also very much enjoy it, because that's sort of I think the most unique and exciting part of this is basically what Niraj was excited about, is that it's tying gameplay with permanent narrative choice. So I think that's one piece. And then I think also just the kind of, there's just an exploration type gamer that, maybe isn't necessarily as invested in the story itself, but just kind of wants to explore all of the visuals and all of the rooms and get through to the end and figure out what's happening there. Is another kind of player that I think would enjoy this.
I also think that the lore that the community has created is so good that it could bring a lot of new people into the game as well. Because, yeah, I mean, really, like I haven't seen anything like this before in Web3 gaming. In real gaming, a really good example of a game that used to run like this, it's called Legend of the Five Rings. If anyone here is familiar with it, unlikely because it was a pretty esoteric game. But these kinds of experiences bring a lot of new players into the game as well. And especially if someone like if you have a Shadowcorn and you want your Shadowcorn to go down in history, like that's this is the place for you. Any Shadowcorn owner should find this game exciting, I think.
Oh yeah, I mean, since it's all on smart contract, it's also will be very easy for us to know which unicorns specifically made it to which rooms, which chapters, what part of the story they got to, and have maybe surprises at different points in time based on all of that info.
I think too, something that we aim to achieve is even if you don't have a Shadowcorn, because of such a heavy influence of lore and discovery and decision making, I think spectating will be just as interesting and fun. Obviously, having a Shadowcorn is you can be a part of the action, but being able to watch and see the narrative unfold in front of you, and we've mentioned it a few times, but the lore that's been written by the community is it's really really good. It's I've read through it a couple times, and I'm excited to see which ones are locked into stone.
I definitely agree there. And aside from people who own shadow coins, we also have community events in tandem with the shadow coin staking event that people who are members of the community who don't have a shadow coin, they can participate in that and be part of the story. So I'm really looking forward to that. And this entire thing was it was a struggle for sure. Like there is a lot of effort that was poured into this. What was the most difficult hurdle for you to overcome while creating this event? And how were you able to get through it? I feel like all of you can present a different kind of POV on this.
I know for me, the big one was going back to the organic conversations of different features and what will this look like? Oh, it'd be neat if we could do that, so on and so forth. It's difficult to have so many really great ideas and then have to leave some of them on the cutting room floor, um, just simply for time or effort or, for a future version. So we picked out the ones that we felt were the best, that were, a great fit for this round. And we have a lot still in our back pocket and ideas that may never see the light of day. But I think that was probably one of the hardest parts for me, is just knowing all the stuff we could do, but or would be neat to do, but we just couldn't get done.
Yeah, to piggyback off of what Matthew said, as he said, we left a lot of stuff on the cutting room floor, and there were some great ideas that we just didn't have time to bring in, or that would have sort of made things too complex. For me, one of the biggest concerns was, is this going to be fun? It's very hard to know when you're designing a game, especially an on-chain game, whether it's actually going to be fun for players. There was a long period of uncertainty before we actually were able to play test it on on the test net and see what the experience would be like. That was probably the most difficult part for me, especially because there were a lot of great ideas that didn't make it in. But the payoff, when we actually did the play test, was massive. I think we've done 3 play tests so far, long sessions where we were play testing the game. And I don't think we've ever laughed as hard collectively as a group, as when we were doing those play tests. That was the payoff so far. I mean, the real payoff will come when the community starts playing. But that really did put my mind at ease, was the amount of fun that we had in the play tests.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's very much similar to the hurdle that I was thinking of, in that it's hard to know how fun this is going to be, and is it going to actually pay off the way you think about, and is it going to be worth the massive effort, and are we making the right choices? And I had a gut feeling we were along the way, and I think the way that the community took ownership of all of the lore elements and really drive a cool, basically whole event over to build the lore. That was really exciting to see, and kind of not have to worry about one piece of it. But yeah, those play tests were a lot of fun, and it's going to be exciting to see how it all comes together when we share it with the world.
I'm feeling pretty optimistic about that, because the fact that there's so much left on the cutting table just means that we have lots more ideas to revisit in future. And I bet the community is really looking forward to other events like this. At least I hope they are. After this, what's the next for Shadowcorns? Will there be another Shadowcorn related thing that the community can expect? Can you share information about it?
Yeah, so this event will last for kind of through this month, next month, or no, December, January. What is the month? This month's I've lost track of what time of the year it is. But this will take us through January. And so we have a bunch of fun stuff planned for that. And then so we've always talked about an act two. And so this is sort of the on-chain game that is sort of a more tug of war type thing. So that would be the next. We still need to do a lot of work to figure out, how long that's going to take and scope it and all of those pieces, since that's, we've been working on the staking portion of the game. So that's sort of the a little bit longer term vision, the tug of war type game with unicorns and shadowcorns. And then we also have one of the rewards with this game will be the shadowcorn loot boxes, which I don't know if I want to spoil too much, but is definitely going to have some beginning portions of minions. So that we're starting to kind of look into when those are going to roll out. But the loot boxes will be step one, and getting that to you guys and the Shadowcorn holders. So there's a bunch of little pieces. I don't want to kind of make too many promises of the order of things because we have a lot of planning and scheduling to do. But there is definitely going to be a lot of Shadowcorn related content. And that's not even to mention kind of what will we be doing with all of this narrative that we have then built. So I don't want to reveal anything before it's time, but that's definitely another piece of thing that we're thinking about.
I guess I can say from our side, from the Moonstream side, we've been very closely involved with Shadowcorns literally since day one. Shadowcorns were born in an idle conversation that Aaron and I had, I think, last November or last December. And then obviously, it's a lot of work to make something like this a reality, but we care heavily about Shadowcorns, and we'll just keep on building game experiences for Shadowcorns with Laguna Games as long as the community wants it, because it's just something that it's just something that we love a lot. Just the notion of Shadowcorns inside this universe. It's been great to see them come to life. The art team has done such a great job making the Shadowcorns come to life and giving them a personality, and we're just in love with them, and we want to keep on building game experiences for them.
So you're saying Moonstream is all team Shadowcorns over there?
100%.
I get it, man. I'm team Shadowcorns too. So do you guys have a special message for the community? What do you have to say for the Shadowcorn staking event? And do you have any tips, suggestions, little Easter eggs that you want to mention?
Well, I would say definitely go read all the lore and vote on what your top choices are. Or I don't know if we're accepting more entries, or write more if we're still accepting entries. And that's going to, build the whole game and the story that's going to be chosen through this game. So that's kind of the step one to really getting everything out of this event. And then I don't know if there's any other hot tips or tricks that I have. Maybe that will be someone else, but I definitely say, prepare to tune in and get some laughs. And we're very excited to have all of you kind of help us build the narrative of the Shadowcorns and sort of the beginning of everything Shadowcorn Unicorn narratively. And it's going to be really excited to see what we create out of this. And I really look forward to kind of reading the story as a whole complete lore at the end.
Yeah, I would say, from a developer standpoint, with all the products we build, and Moonstream, of course, very much is in this category, we pour a lot of heart and soul and love into these projects, and it's always really rewarding when we can get to share them with everybody. And this one especially, I know the Moonstream team has worked incredibly hard at, and we've put a lot of effort. The art team, the web team, the design team, every team has put in a lot of effort, and so it's going to be. I'm really looking forward to when we can pull the curtain back and let everybody run wild with it. I think that'll be really cool.
All right, you heard that, Unicorn fam. So those are our quick law questions. We are now opening the table for any questions that you might have. I see we have somebody raising their hand here. Hey, Mitch, let's get him here. Wait, can you get Mitch on the stage? Okay, we're encountering some technical difficulties there. So while we figure that out, I see this really popular question around the Discord server. When will my shadow coins get to eat a unicorn?
Oh yes, that question. I don't have a timeline for you guys yet. We have a lot of kind of just scoping and planning to do, but that is definitely still on the roadmap. So the Shadowcorns will get their meal, but it will not be in this particular event.
All right.
Although you get to decide in this event why Shadowcorns eat unicorns, which is a pretty cool thing as well.
Yeah, it all starts with motivation. I'm excited to learn more about Shadowcorns and why they are the way they are. Speaking of Shadowcorns, we do have a Shadowcorn channel gated to Shadowcorn owners and our Discord server. So you can hang out with your fellow Shadowcorn holders there and do your evil scheming away from the unicorns.
While you're eating the unicorn.
Yeah, like eating the unicorns.
Yeah, there's very surprising to talk about eating unicorns on that channel.
Yeah, there's a lot.
One day.
So to gain access to that, you need to have a Shadowcorn in your wallet and then head over to the Verify Wallet channel under the Getting Started category and just follow the steps so you can get your wallet verified. Okay. Let's see. I think we have a request. Let's get them up on stage. There we go. There we go. Yeah. Hey, Mitch.
Hey, Sparkly. Hey, everyone else. Thank you for organizing and putting this space together. I'm very hyped for Throwing Shade release next week. Can't wait. I wanted to ask a question, and that was, and this might be considered alpha, that might not be able to be shared, but hey, I'm going to ask anyway and take my chances. Is there any benefit to owning multiple classes of Shadowcorn, similar to how we've got questing at the moment, where you do need multiple classes of unicorns for certain quests? Is there going to be any class combinations required in order to, let's say, do any of this staking coming up?
For this event, no, you do not need to have different classes. It'll just be each Shadowcorn you have is another Shadowcorn that can go through the trial and make choices. So more chances to kind of have a bigger impact on the story and that kind of thing. They will matter at some point, but yeah, not for this particular event.
Right, got you. And I'm assuming class rarity won't impact that either.
I believe we have rarity impacts the leaderboard points, but I'd have to double check with design. I'd have to double check because we kind of went back and forth on a few of these different points of how exactly the leaderboard points would add up. So we will let you guys know that.
Sounds amazing. I appreciate that. And they were all my questions, so I appreciate the response.
Yeah, thanks for coming up.
Thank you so much, Mitch. Okay, do we have any other people who'd like to ask a question? Let's see. We have a question from General Chat on our Discord server. By the way, if you haven't joined yet, please come on over to our Discord. That is discord.gg/cryptounicorns. Be part of the Unicorn fam. And of course, play Dark Forest Act 2 with us.
It's the place to be.
Okay, we have a question. Do we need to verify the wallets on Discord to play Dark Forest Act 2? If by that you mean Shadowcorn Staking, you do not need to verify your wallets in Discord, but we do have a couple of partner events that are going to happen with the community that you can join while you're doing Shadowcorn Staking, and it'll be so much fun. So why not verify your wallet? Okay, we don't have any pending questions as of now. Let's just give it a couple of minutes, and then if you don't have any more questions, we can end it early. We are going to have this recorded, by the way. It will be on our Town Hall Bulletin forum channel, along with a summary. So if you didn't make it to the start, we will have that. So somebody's asking because they have a bunch of Shadowcorns, and they're not sure if they can play them from the same wallet. There's a similar question to that I read before. So if somebody has multiple Shadowcorns and they're in different wallets, are they still able to play them?
Maybe Matthew, it's best if you take this one.
Yeah. And if I understood right, they have Shadowcorns but in different wallets. Can they still do Throwing Shade? Is that correct?
Yeah, can they do Throwing Shade with all of their Shadowcorns, even if they have multiple wallets?
Yeah, that won't be a problem. You'll have to swap wallets, but they can go through and it will not affect anything. So that is totally fine.
All right. And another question. Can they play multiple Shadowcorns from the same wallet? And is there some sort of limit on that?
Yeah, both of these are great questions. No, there's no limit. As far as I know, Niraj may speak to this differently, but from the front end, we actually designed it specifically for, I'm testing with 50. So it works great with 50. So I presume if you have more than that and you run into issues, let me know, but I cannot expect anybody would have any issues. There's no physical limitation to the number of Shadowcorns you can run with.
Yeah, after Dark Forest Act 1, we felt really bad for the whales and the guilds. YGG had to write their own smart contract to load all of their Shadowcorns into the staking game, and we just wanted to make the experience better for like people who held multiple Shadowcorns. So basically, when you stake your Shadowcorns into each chapter of the game, you'll be able to stake all of them at the same time, unless you have 1,000 Shadowcorns. Nobody has 1,000 Shadowcorns, by the way. So I don't think anyone should have an issue with this. The only limitation is how large a transaction can be on the blockchain. This is a fully on-chain game, and we just support these kinds of batch actions where you can just do actions over all of your Shadowcorns at the same time. And the front end that Matthew built sort of integrates that functionality very nicely. So it should be easy for people who own multiple Shadowcorns to operate with them at the same time in a single transaction.
Yeah, to add on just one extra piece, in the front end design, that was actually a large consideration Niraj and I wanted from day one, is the ability to move very quickly, large amounts of Shadowcorns if you were lucky enough to have that many, and be able to easily manage them and then confirm them all. And you'll see that in the game itself, but it is far less tedious than some of the previous implementations in the past. Now you can do quite a lot in just a couple transactions.
I bet the people who have a lot of loot boxes loved hearing that. There is another question. How many times a day do you need to interact with a Shadowcorn staking game? And do you miss out on anything if you miss a day?
So it'll be daily. And you will sort of miss out if you don't log in daily. So it's basically you stake in at the beginning of the week and then you make a choice every day. And so if you miss a day, you miss a choice. So yeah, there is some level of you miss out if you don't have it every day, but we try to make we have breaks in between each chapter to kind of help make it not quite so difficult.
Okay, definitely important to keep that in mind. Is there a specific time where they're limited to interacting with their Shadowcorns, or will they have maybe a 24-hour period to be able to do that?
Well, I'm not 100% sure I got the full question, but basically there'll be at the beginning of each chapter a period of time where you stake in your unicorn or your Shadowcorns, and then you can stake into that chapter at any point leading up to the first choice. And then after that, it's not a staking action. That's just a transaction through this choose your own adventure smart contract. And then each day would just be doing that. And the end of a chapter, you would unstake and then restake and do that process again. The timings exactly of how long we're going to have that window open beforehand is not totally set. We're trying to figure out what is the right amount of time. And then the plan is to have it on a daily cadence for each choice after that. So the exact time, again, when time zone wise, we don't have that solidified yet, but we're kind of discussing it with the team at the moment. Since there will be a live element to the door choice. So it's a coordination across a couple different groups.
All right, we got a response. Thank you for the clarification earlier. Individually staking and unstaking the coins in Act 1 was a bit hardcore.
Yeah, sorry about that.
And to clarify that a little bit more, there's the way it's built now is you'll have the ability to stake in individual Shadowcorns into the game, and once staked, then you don't have to keep doing that every day. Then you can breeze through a lot easier. So it'll be a much better user experience, I can assure you. And we also, this is a good opportunity. We listen to the community as well. And since this event will be running for an extended period of time, that gives us a lot of opportunity to hear feedback from the community and to, implement changes or make improvements as we hear them. So certainly, if there are things that are pain points or points of friction, let us know, because that's something that the beauty of what we do, we can easily push updates and make improvements post the game launch.
All right, perfect. Okay, we have. Oh, this is a good one. Does the staking game work on iOS or Android?
It is a web-based game. We haven't tested it yet on I know MetaMask has an iOS app and Android app. I would say it's best played. I can safely say it'll be best played on a desktop. We always try to accommodate as many devices as we can, and so that's something that we're certainly aware of. And all the previous sites that we've launched have been tailored to support iOS and Android in some way, shape, or form, albeit all through a web browser. So this one, unless some exception to that rule, we're planning on at least making it friendly enough on mobile that you can go through, and it won't be perhaps the smoothest experience. You'll have a much smoother experience on a larger screen, but if you're on a pinch, it should suffice.
Okay, so yeah, it wasn't really developed for that, but in a pinch, it should suffice. I kind of want to go back to that one question. So it's important for them to interact with Shadowcorn staking every day. If they do fail to interact with a staking event for a specific day, if they skip a day, do they get some sort of consolation prize, at least?
So the way it generally works is, yes, you stake into the chapter, and that's you get all your Shadowcorns into the chapter, and then every day you make it through, you will get some points for the leaderboard. There's some loot box rewards. So if you don't make a day, you're going to get some amount of consolation for how far you made it through the week. So think of it as like these are the trials, the Umber trials, and so it's, if you miss a day, you're not going to be making it to the end because you're not going through at the right time. It's hard to explain without totally revealing all of the secrets. But for every day you do participate, you'll get some. But if you miss a day, you might have to wait until the next week to get in again. But they're pretty short chunks of time, so you're not like locked out from a bunch of content. So we'll be providing some guides and stuff in the near future, so we can kind of clarify some of these things, so you guys can make sure you have any scheduling figured out if you don't want to miss out on anything.
Yeah, definitely. The CM team will also make sure to roll out specific guides for Shadowcorn staking. Okay, we have a question here. Do choices influence rewards?
Yes. So, I mean, definitely they do, because there's only one right choice per day.
And I believe we're running the game in an unforgiving mode, right, Katrina? So if you choose wrong on a given day, you won't be able to choose again for the rest of the chapter.
Yeah. So or you choose, So that's basically like each day you are presented a choice. One of those choices will be correct, or the correct door to go through. And then if you make it through the end, there is a sort of this I don't want to give away because it's such a cool piece of art. But yeah, there's an end to each chapter, that you have to make it through each door correctly leading up to that to get to the end. And then each door you make it through, you get rewards, and sort of the end has sort of a big prize at the end.
I will also add one extra clarification. You can have multiple Shadowcorns win. So, think of it as a maze, and you want to send, you can have all of your Shadowcorns, all on one path or across multiple, but the number of Shadowcorns you have playing and how many Shadowcorns win will obviously, well, maybe not, but will increase your winnings. So if you have 5 Shadowcorns who all pick the correct door, then you get those 5 rewards, or you get the rewards 5 times over. It's better said.
Yeah. And and I don't think we've mentioned, but it will cost RBW to stake a Shadowcorn. So we have the numbers we'll get out for people, but that's part of the way the reward structure works, which we'll share some details on how that's all going to work, but I think it'll be fun.
Ooh, there's an RBW fee, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Like that gets people even more interested because like the reward should be worth it.
They are.
Can you give some sort of like hint on what kind of reward we're looking at here?
Well, I mean, there's definitely a lot of Shadowcorn loot boxes. But I mean, it's a combination of the Shadowcorns are choosing the lore for the entire narrative, and then yes, at the end, those who make it through will share in glory and rewards.
You know what lies at the end of a rainbow, right?
That's a fun hint for everybody. Okay. Oh, we have somebody here asking. So previously, during the 100 coin community events, we do these things where we like share GIFs that are sort of like clues to the correct answer. So GD is asking, do we have a clue for the correct answer?
No, not for the way we're going to be running this particular round of the event. So it'll be I don't know if we want to reveal how all this is going to be chosen. We'll share how more details basically about how all this is going to work and the steps and whatnot. But it will not be clues hidden anywhere that you have to go find to get the correct answer.
Can I
maybe
can I
someday though, I feel like that.
Like a personal opinion over here? We're like, whoever plays this game is going to be determining like what the canon is, right? Like what the lore is of the Crypto Unicorns game universe. So personally, I'm just going to choose the coolest lore. Like I'm going to just choose the lore that gets me the most pumped. That's going to be my strategy. Just my opinion.
Oh, I definitely feel you on that, man. I'd rather be cool than be correct.
I'm 100%. I mean, we've seen that in the playtest, Carla. We had the same strategy in the playtests, right? So for sure.
At least we go out with a bang.
Whereas I liked more of the answers, so I just spread my Shadowcorns out to all the answers, and so that was my strategy in the playtest.
Actually, I've definitely become a fan of some of the people in the community for their writing. I'm just gonna give a shout out to Chicken Pork Adobo. I really love their writing for the lore.
Yeah, it's good. But and then we'll have I guess I don't want to spoil too much, but yeah, we're trying to think of rewards beyond outside of the actual RBW or treasure room rewards and whatnot, loot boxes, and there's a lot of cool stuff of narratively the Shadowcorns who make it through this, that's going to be quite meaningful narratively going forward. And I think there's going to be some really cool rewards down the line that are more ephemeral and narrative related. That will be very cool to see how that all kind of comes together. I have a bunch of ideas in my head that none of them are like totally reality yet, but I think everyone's going to really like them. So that's just sort of a little teaser.
All right. Let's see.
Actually, speaking of teasers, this is not a lot of info, but I'm going to share. I saw some updates for early hatchers and what that reward looks like. And let me tell you, you're going to be happy. So I can't give you more than that because it's too good of a coil. But I'm just going to say I'm really excited about it.
Super pumped for it as well. So we have somebody asking, do you know the result of the choice, if it was the right one, as soon as you make it, or only after the chapter ends?
You will know. So each day there's sort of a reveal moment. So you'll choose a door, and then you'll have to wait until the moment we're going to reveal which is the correct answer, and then there's a visual moment, and then hopefully a social element where everyone's talking about the right answer, and yeah. So you won't find it the moment you choose the door, but rather everyone will find out at the same time.
All right. And let's have our last question for this Twitter space. GDverse is asking, can Sparkly give us a clue? That, probably not. But, like, you're close. You're onto something. You're onto something. Sparkly might do something. That's all we're going to say. Okay, so that is the end of our Twitter space. Do you guys have anything else that you'd like to say before I end it?
Thanks, guys. I hope you have fun playing this game.
Yep. Thanks, everyone, for joining, and thanks, Barkley, for hosting and coming up with all the great questions.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
All right, thank you so much, everybody. I feel like everybody's super excited whenever somebody from the LG team just takes some time to say hi to the community, because every time Andy pops up in chat, or Jared, or Jeff, Katrina, Matthew, like, you guys are amazing. So thank you so much for taking time out of your day to say hi to the community and share more information about Shadowcorn staking. So that's all the time that we have for now, folks. Thank you so much for showing up for the Shadowcorn staking Twitter spaces for Shadowcorn's Throwing Shade. So let me just read it out. For 6 weeks, Shadowcorns will be put to the ultimate test to see who's worthy to be the champions of the Shadowcorns will. The ultimate test, Umbra, will require you to stake your Shadowcorns and choose the correct door. For every stage, prize Shadowcorn loot boxes and leaderboard points will be earned. Stake your Shadowcorn. Be a part of history. Starts November 18. See you there, Unicorn fam. And that's a wrap. We'll post a recording of this on our socials if you would like to give it a re-listen. Don't forget to share this with your friends and fellow Unicorn fam who couldn't make it. If you have more burning questions about Shadowcorn staking, feel free to reach out on our support channels. You can message the admins at the Mon Support channel, or you can ask the rest of the LG team at the Ask the Devs channel. Either way, we will make sure that you get your answer, except if you're trying to get alpha. I mean, I'll answer you anyway. This has been the LG team, Katrina, Matthew, Nero, True Moonstream, your host, Sparkly Unicorn, and Tech Witty Unicorn on the Crypto Unicorn's Twitter account. Good morning, good night, and see you in game, Unicorn fam. Ooh.
Ooh.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
That wasn't an Uber.
Ooh.
Ooh.
There we go. Now the Unicorn fam's happy. Thank you so much, everybody. And that's the end of this Twitter space.